This is not just a rebuild, this is a revolution. Benfica, once giants of European football, have not lifted the Champions League since 1962, and domestically their throne is under siege. Porto, Sporting, pretenders to the crown, but not for long. Over the next 10 years at FM24, we're going to rewrite the script. We're taking Benfica back to the top, but not just of Portugal, but of Europe. Every season, every transfer, every trophy will count. We're building a dynasty, one that dominates forever. And a little fun fact, Benfica holds the world record for the most registered fans. Over 200,000 members worldwide. Time to give them a time and a team worth believing in again. So hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and as always, leave a comment below what you want to see next. Whether it be a rebuild, whether it be maybe a different sort of video, let me know in the comments. Let's get into it. So then, this is going to be Benfica inside of the game. Now, this club have got a lot going for them, so this is definitely a rebuild, more in the sense of what can we actually achieve over 10 years, more than if we can achieve. We are going to win some trophies. We've already got a fairly decent team as it stands. We've got perfect youth recruitment, perfect youth facilities, perfect training facilities, and do you know what? The reputation almost is that 5-star, and that's going to be my aim today, to give them the perfect club. Now, the owners love the club. The finances are also very much under control, and when we look at the overview of the club, they've won a lot of trophies. 2 Champions Leagues, 38 Portuguese Premier Leagues, 26 Portuguese Cups, 7 Portuguese League Cups, 9 Portuguese Super Cups, and 3 Portugal Championships 1922 to 1938. And they are on a bit of an incline, but today, the challenge mainly is to win them another Champions League, but we're not going to stop at that. If we win that in the first 5 seasons, for example, we are going to carry on today and go over an entire 10-year project, because I do think there's reason to do it, because they are a very, very fun team to play with in the game, and they are one of Portugal's biggest names. So when we actually go over and see some of the players they've got that we'll do very shortly, before, we're going to see what we're playing in. We are playing in the league, the Cup, and the Champions League. Now, the Champions League, I'm not expecting too much in the first season. I think we can win the Champions League this video. I'm not going to lie to you. The Portuguese Cup, why can't we win it? I mean, we've got the same chance as any of the teams in there. We're probably one of the better sides to come up against. The Portuguese Premier League, I mean, this is going to be a race between Benfica, you know, Porto, Sporting, maybe Braga occasionally in this game. But I mean, looking at the review, we are going to be predicted to finish first, joint with FC Porto. Now, this is not an FC Porto rebuild, but if we go and look at their team quickly, which we can't at the moment, but if we look at some of their players, for example, they are going to have some very, very good players. We've done a Porto rebuild before. I know how they work, who they've got, who their strengths are, who the weaknesses are, and they could probably, in my opinion, just like Sporting, are the only team that can really cause us big issues. Now, in terms of money, we are going to have a budget of £10 million. Again, I will not sign anybody in the first window, so that money is essentially irrelevant. The debts and loans, there is a little bit of debt there. I say a little bit, a fair bit of debt there. And we're not going to sign people, maybe for 2 seasons, just to try and get that a little bit under control. Now, one thing I will say is that we are playing on an up-to-date database, so we are going to have any new signings. We also are going to have staff updates, any transfers, all of that good stuff we are going to have. Now, this team is brilliant, okay? There's some real good players in here, but as you can see, 4 of the players in here that are probably some of the best ability players are getting old. I mean, 2 of them are 37, so we're probably going to have 1 season out of them tops, and that's pretty much it. You've then got the likes of Matete, who is, you know, 31. He can get a few years out of him. You can definitely get a few years out of Bruma, don't get me wrong, but to be honest with you, a lot of the team are 25 and under, or maybe 26, 27. So we are actually okay for a few seasons, which is why I'm not going to feel pressure to go and spend money right away. Now, the dev center, I'm keeping an eye on this guy because I really like the look of him, and I am going to try and get as many new gens or upcoming players through the Benfica Academy as I can, but also I'm not going to sacrifice my entire rebuild. So I'm up for locking some of these players in, giving them a chance. I have never got on with this guy. He just never really does well when I use him from minute 1. So I'm going to try and let him develop. I always end up signing the guy in rebuild, so I am going to keep an eye on him. So if you don't see him be used, I haven't forgot about him. He just was not ready or worth calling up. Now, this is going to be the tactic. we are going to be using the Alonso 433 Madrid, and at any part of this video you want to get all of these perks, which does include the tactic and the rebuild today and so much more. Make sure you are going over to the Patreon, because there is currently 20% off. There's over 200 tactics, 80 plus rebuild files, and so much more. In this video now, you know, the one with the ads, no adverts over there, so make sure you do go and check it out. Now, this team on paper, I like it. One of my favourite players, actually, genuinely in this game, is going to be Koshu. I think he's brilliant. I'd have loved him at United when he was linked a few years ago. So I'm really excited to use him. Hopefully he does quite well. He doesn't always, that's the sad thing. We've got Trubin bound to at some point have to fight to keep him. We've got Antonio Silva. You know, we've got some really good players. We've got Luis in midfield, who anyone that watched the live streams back in the day was one of my favourite DMs at Manchester United. Obviously Otamendi's got tons of experience. Pavlidis might not be world class, but the guy can put the ball in the back of the net. I've seen it with my own eyes. This guy I'm going to lock in. Andreas Schlaudrup, probably butchered the name, but this guy was once rumoured to be one of the hottest prospects in world football. Now I don't hear about him too much, and I don't know if that's just me, but I don't hear about him too much, so I'm going to lock him in and really give him a fair few years to reclaim that title. We've also got former Manchester United man Alvaro Fernandez, who, again, looks pretty decent. He's got the crossing, got the tackling, got a bit of pace, so he's pretty okay. Decent's probably a good way to describe him. And other than that, we've got sort of everyone in between. You know, we've got Bruma, we've got Tengstedt, we've got Jurassic, we've got decent players. Araujo, however you say that, he's a decent backup striker. We've got options. We have got options in this team, but it all comes down to how I think this rebuild's going to go. Is I think for the first few seasons we can be extremely competitive, but when we start to offload these older players and bring in young players, we might have a few off seasons. So this is not going to be as easy as what you probably think. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we are now going to queue into season number 1. Right then, it is a serious first season. Now, it was quite close to the league, don't get me wrong. FC Porto are going to be, 6 points behind? Not too many points at all. Now, did we actually lose to them? We did. Okay, fair play. Did they lose to us? They did, so it was really a very neck-and-neck title race. Now, to be fair, who joined us? Sporting. They also joined us, so it is them top 3 teams that are really going to be going head-to-head. Now, I have seen that Andreas Schlaudrup has scored 17 goals, which is really good to see, and in fact, is the only player out of everyone in this team that has got in the stat lines. Now, this guy was locked in. So he was given a bit of golden boy treatment so he can play every game that he physically can play. So we are expecting good stuff out of him. And 17 goals in the league alone tells me at probably bare minimum he scored 25 this season, which is really, really strong. Now, I'm about to show you something which is absolutely mind-blowing for Season 1, because we could have potentially walked away. We wouldn't have ended the video, but we could have walked away with 4 trophies this season. Well, I'll tell you one that we didn't. That is going to be the Champions League, because in the playoffs, we actually lose to Salzburg. And we don't just get beaten, we get battered. 7 goals to 4. We drop down to the Europa League final, and we are playing Ludogorets, who I think we should be beating, you know, we're Benfica. But believe it or not, this team come to play, and they were absolutely electric. They're going to find themselves going 2-0 up here inside of 88 minutes, and at this point I was mind blown. I was frustrated. The only thing we can actually get from this game is a consolation goal. So our chance of winning a European trophy against a very beatable team, we simply just bottled. And it's not the only thing we bottled. We also go on to bottle the Portuguese Cup 2-0 in the final over Sporting. The Portuguese League Cup, we are going to lose on penalties over Porto. We were so close to winning 4 trophies in one season. We get to 3 cup finals. Now, granted, the Portuguese ones, we are playing top opposition, but really, losing to these 2-1 is simply not good enough. So, a little bit frustrated with the team in that regard, but I mean, the league win does make up for a little bit of it, but how nice would that have been to tick off an early quadruple, get some big money back into the club, but at least we've got Champions League football again. I mean, that's a pretty, if we didn't get Champions League football, we might be out of a job, so good job we did qualify for that at bare minimum. Now, in terms of money, we are going to have a budget of around £40 million. I am heavily debating not spending, because we have still got a lot of debts and loans, and I do think this team, as you can see here, Schlaudrup being locked in with 26 and 18, a great performance from him this season, who still doesn't get into the first team. I don't like that. Get him back in. I don't like that at all. this team can go again, I think. Genuinely, although we didn't, we won one trophy, I think we put the same team out again. We can at least bring home 2, if not 3. I'm not saying we'll win the Champions League. I'm not saying win the Europa League, clearly. But I do think if we roll with this exact same team, if you factor in that we are going to obviously lose the likes of Otamendi, I imagine. He's going to Manchester United, which is very weird to see, and Di Maria is of course going to be probably retiring. Where is Di Maria? I don't actually know, but he didn't play much anyway. It's not much of a loss. The guy's 37, so how far can we push with this exact team? I'm looking at it on paper. I'm looking at the players on the bench, and even the likes of Tengstedt, a backup striker, he had a very, very decent season with 15 goals. Barrio in midfield, 11 and 9, had an absolute fantastic time in midfield. I mean, we've not got bad defenders either. This guy can step in for Otamendi and play a few more games. I think we're going to be completely fine, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do is, unless there is like a magical player on the market, I'm going to come back with Season 2 and we're going to go right back in and try and correct some of these wrongs. Right, well, sadly, we are going to lose one of my favourite players because I could not compete with the contract offer. It is going to be Koshu going to the Saudi League on £650,000 a week. Now, we do get 34 million, so it was money back into the club. I didn't sign any players, so we didn't really get to spend it, but it will help put some money back into a club that is in a bit of need of money. But yeah, I wouldn't have sold him. I genuinely wouldn't have done, but how can I compete with over £500,000 a week? I really want to see how Otamendi done at Manchester United. He didn't do too bad, to be fair, but obviously his move does go through, and yeah, a very interesting one. Maria's deal obviously was done as soon as we started the rebuild. He goes to Rosario Central in Argentina. He had a decent season the season before, but pretty quiet this season. Without any signings, we've actually improved in the league. We are now going to have an invincible season, 32 wins, 2 draws, putting the trust in the players to get the job done, and there is a lot of more sort of our players in the stat lines. One key player being Francisco Wang, a player that I locked in, player from our own sort of club who we developed. Now, is he going to last that long? I'm not sure. Based off them stats, potentially. 15 and 13 is absolutely incredible. We're also going to have Frederick in there with 13 assists, another player who obviously was playing for us last season. Trubin picked up the most clean sheets. Schlaudrup and Pavlidis with 30, outscoring Samu and also Rocco. So 2 very, very good finishers of the ball. I mean, Koshu actually dropped one of the best average ratings in the league before he left, so that shows what a player we are missing in that regard as well. But that is going to be 2 back-to-back. The Champions League is a massive improvement. We get all the way to the semis, where sadly we are going to lose to Real Madrid, but I mean, we get past teams like Arsenal, we also get past teams like Juventus. It's a big improvement. A chance to win the League Cup final. If we do win this, it will be the most trophies we have won in a season. So hopefully we can instantly go and get off to a good start. And we do, with Andreas Schlaudrup making it 1-0 inside of 16 minutes. And to be honest, the final got decided here because we're now talking 48 seconds after the first goal. We are going to go and make it 2-0 with Barrio on the edge, and that is one incredible strike, to be fair to him. So we are going to lead this 2-0, and we go and get the last goal. So we at least improved on last season by keeping the exact same team, while actually losing some players. So very interesting. A few more younger players in the team, and it's paying off. We also win the Portuguese Super Cup 2-1 over Sporting, so that is going to be 3 trophies, but sadly we can't make it 4, as we are going to lose the Portuguese Cup against Sporting in the 6th round. So still a great season. Portuguese Premier League, Portuguese League Cup, Portuguese Super Cup, a big improvement in the Champions League, like a big improvement in that UCL. So buzzing with that in every single way possible. Clear progression as a club. I will say I do think it now might be time to spend a bit of money. We are going to have a budget of 79 million pounds. The debts and loans have come down nearly 100 million. So we are doing a really good job in that regard, but I've got to be careful that I don't spend money but don't improve at the same time. Now, we've got 2 wingers locked in now. Now, these players will not get in the team filtered by the best 11, hence why they are locked in. Wang on the right-hand side, 18 and 16. Schlaudrup, 27 and 14. A 7 rating and a 7.32. So, really good performances. Incredible performances from the players. Another thing that I'm going to shout out really quick is how good our wingbacks are doing, or fullbacks. I always say wingbacks. Bar and also Jurassic also really doing a great job. Jurasek, sorry, not Jurassic Park, Jurasek. We are going to have Luis, 2 and 10, Barrio, 9 and 9. I mean, genuinely, even this guy, who I will butcher the name of, 17 and 23, coming in from Frederick, a 31-year-old. So, doing the job. I mean, Pavlidis, 44 goals. Everyone's playing their part in this team. Wang's a big surprise to the team. I did not expect him to do that well, although he was locked in. And in the dev centre, we have got other players, like this guy at centre-back. At the moment, he looks quite average, so we don't really need him, but we will keep an eye out for him. And we're going to keep an eye on who comes through that dev centre, but this might now be a time to go and spend money, bring some younger players into the club. I mean, naturally, we are going to have older players now start to appear. You know, we've got a few players pushing 30. We've still got 3 players getting older in the 40s, in the 30s. One of them being that Frederick. Now, he holds such a big value. 36 to 43 million pounds. Now, what he done in this season is potentially irreplaceable, some would say. But if we do get 50, 60 million from Saudi or from a team, do we sell him and try and replace him with a younger player? I potentially would consider it, depending on the money that comes in. The only players in this team that obviously I really want to try and keep hold of, factoring in we're playing this for 10 years, is Trubin, Araujo, Silva, the likes of Schlaudrup, of course, as well. Luis I'd like to keep. Am I forgetting anyone? I might be forgetting some people, but they're the real first names that come into my head. Wang would be good to keep here as well. Alvaro, even if he's not first team, for a backup would be good, although he is unhappy and wants an upcoming new deal. We can do that. So let's see what we can do. Is anyone wanted? Silva's wanted by Atletico. Trubin's wanted by the Saudi League. Yeah. This is going to be a fight. Yep, I knew it was coming. Frederick is going to be going to Manchester United now. I actually wasn't fully on board with this because of the money that we got. But he wanted to go £14 million United pay, and they get an incredible player. Now, I will say, we did have him for most of the season. So that is one saving grace because he is now 32. Going to be coming up to 33, so we probably would have sold him at the end of next season anyway. So I guess that's a very small positive, but that's one big player to replace. You're also going to lose Bruma. Now, with Bruma, he didn't play that many games, to be honest, so he's not like a massive loss. We recover all the money we got back that we spent, you know, from Braga. He goes to the Saudi League. How much is he on per week? He is on 20k, so didn't even go for the money. This one hurts because it's similar to Koshu, because I wanted to keep him. Q literally a minute ago in the video, I want to keep Trubin as a main priority. He goes to Al Ahly, 650k a week. I mean, I can't compete with that. We do profit a ton of money, but with players like this, it's not about the money. It's about you've got a world-class goalkeeper there. Now we've not got one. And do you know what? In this game, 40 million doesn't get you a world-class keeper. We are going to pick up a signing on the free coming in here in Caritas. Now, he's going to come in from Genk. As I said, didn't cost me a penny. 26 goal contribution. So he's adapted to the league really well. He is a wonder kid, a high value as well. Quite sensible amount of money per week to have at the club as well, and just a really good optional player to have in the team. Now, he got a lot more games than what I actually was going to expect, but we're starting off with a free signing, which means we've got a lot to spend. We're keeping it humble. We're only spending 13 million on this man. It's going to be Arthur, coming in from Bayer Leverkusen, a very good option, not the best in the world, but can play very good at right back and can also cover left back. As I said, 13 million, a very decent first season. Again, very low demands on the wage. A lot of people might not even consider signing this guy, but I needed a semi-cheap right back who can get into the first team. This guy can, and also a player that potentially could cover centre back or left back, and this guy can play left back to a decent degree. The last signing, 57 million, is going to be Zabrani, coming in from Bournemouth. He had a great first season, and do you know what? Just a really reliable option. I think his only downside is probably his on-the-ball movement. His dribbling is quite poor, but we can get around that. But we have been very sensible. We had a huge transfer budget. We also profited £60 million from selling these players. We've only spent £1 million more than actually what we sold. So we've spent hardly a single penny. Now, it does it does increase the chances of some risks. For example, we've gone just with our backup goalkeeper. We have not replaced Trubin. The midfield player, we have replaced, I will say, with a younger player who did do really well. So that's sort of been replaced, and Bruma wasn't really playing. So the only thing we've taken a real punt on here is just that backup goalkeeper we've really relied on. And you know what? We haven't fallen off in the Champions League, and we were this close to getting to a Champions League final. Now, I will say we would have faced Man City, who might have been a bit too much, but it's nice to see that we've not dropped off Champions League quality-wise. We are going to lift the Portuguese Cup this time, 2-2 tied, but win on penalties over FC Porto, and get ready because we also are going to win the Portuguese League Cup 3-1 over Braga, and the Portuguese Super Cup on penalties over Porto. So really clutching up in the penalties in the Portuguese competitions, and that is going to be a quadruple winning Portuguese season. Now, the Champions League is technically the last thing to tick off, but in a dream world, I'll have a shot at winning everything in one season. If I feel like I've got the team, I will make that happen. Now, the league, I will go and say, we didn't just win, we went invincible again. We had a 10-point advantage. Pavlidis is scoring goals for fun. We're having a really strong time. I mean, our goalkeeper, by the way, who I said was a gamble in Samuel, might not be. He is a reasonable, good quality goalkeeper. 24 clean sheets. Karetas, obviously the new man coming in on the free, is going to be up there as one of the top assisters. And Pavlidis is just having a whale of a time. So, I mean, that is now going to be, it's not two, it's 3 times back-to-back. So, a very strong season. A big point advantage over Porto. Sporting find themselves down in 4th. Braga in 5th. And do you know what? It's becoming a bit easy, that competition, so we like to be seeing that. And the fact we have tied in 3 other Portuguese Cups is nothing but credit to the team. Now, money-wise, we are going to have an incredible budget this time, our first over £100 million budget. The debts and loans have come down significantly more because we are being so sensible with how we are spending money. We are going to lock in Wang again. 15 and 16, a pretty decent season. On the left-hand side, how many games did Schaldrup play? Quite a few, I would imagine, because he did return me 29 and 18. Pavlidis is doing his thing, you know, 48 and 3. Karetas 20 and 20, Barrio 15 and 17, Luis 5 and 10, Arta 18 assists in his first season. Jurasek 11. I mean, it's a really good team performance. Wang 15 and 16. The team is doing their thing, but not to the point where we can just say we don't need to sign players. I mean, even the goalkeeper, I think he's brilliant, but he is already close to his full potential, and he's nowhere near like a Champions League winning goalkeeper. So I do think we might need to go and spend some money, and we have got money to go and spend, you know. We've got over 100 million. I don't think we should feel guilty if we go and spend all of it, because we have not. I mean, we go into our transfers right now, we have not spent hardly anything, you know. We have sold, what, £94 million worth of players, and we've spent 61 million, so we've not even dug into any of our budgets really over this sort of current window of season. So I'm going to go and try and make it happen, try and sign some players, and really think where we can sign. If there's a right goalkeeper on the market, I will consider it. A younger striker, Pavlidis is doing such a good job, but he is 29, and the backups are doing okay, but nothing too electric. The dev centre, as a little update, I'm still not really happy with Real Silva. Dani Goncalves is an option. He is an option. He looks pretty talented, and he is developing really well, so I might promote him even to the bench. That is definitely a possibility. And let's just go into the next transfer window and go and try and sign some pretty exciting talent. We're going to start spending money, a bit of an instalment signing. We are going to pick up Matias Fernandes. Now, I'll be honest, it was the Portuguese side that I wanted back into the team. Get a young midfielder, Portuguese, you know, he's played here before at Sporting, and he looks very well-rounded. I like his first touch, I like his technique, good pass and range, good vision, good work rate, good stamina, still quite young, on under 100k a week, but we spent 76 million. Now, it wasn't paid all up front, it's a lot of money, but you do get 24 goal contributions for a player that has easily got 8 years in the tank. For me, he comes in as probably our best midfield player, and I'm not saying he's as good before I can see the comments, but he's giving me a bit of João Neves vibes. Big statement signing and a big name to get from Paris Saint-Germain, or technically Inter Milan on here. It is going to be Bradley Barcola. Now, he comes in for 49 million, and he nearly scores a goal every single game. Was he locked in? Yes, he was. He was locked in up front because I didn't really want him playing on the wing, because then it drops Andrés Schaldrup out of the team. So this guy up front, Schaldrup on the left, Wang on the right, that is a front three of absolute dreams. We also got this guy, I know it's a very generic signing. I sign him a lot because there is genuinely I think, a lack of good young goalkeepers in football, not just in the game. We pick him up for £20 million, keeps a lot of clean sheets. I'm not gonna talk too much about him because I know we've signed him a lot before. And if you've got any goalkeeping suggestions, by the way, in terms of goalkeepers that I might never sign, please leave a comment below. You know, I'm sick of signing your Restezes, your Erbigs, Dennis, you've got the Brugans, you've got all of those generic goalkeepers. The pre-season Super Cup against FC Porto, of course, the Portuguese Super Cup, did go really well for us, to be honest. Hardly any fans attending from the Porto side, and maybe this is why, because we are going to go 1-0 up with Barcola in his first competitive fixture goal, which is a big moment for him. Now, Porto, to be fair to them, did bounce back quite quickly with a great ball over the top, through to Carboni, and it's a delicate finish. Maybe Restez should have stayed up and not committed too early, but it's a good goal from Porto. But we are going to go and have the last laugh with Arthur down the right-hand side. Plenty of space, and this is why we signed him. He can just put a great ball in, and I mean, when you got Pavlidis, you're going to score. He goes really well again. That is now going to be 3 back-to-back invincible seasons. Bradley Barcola is going to be your top goal scorer. Karastas is going to be your second top goal scorer. Restez your most clean sheets. Schlaudrup is going to be your top assister. And Barrio your second. So, I mean, we are everywhere in the stat lines. The only stat line we're not in, that you don't want to be in, is going to be the yellow cards. So we are doing such a fantastic job of managing this league. Champions League, we take a bit of a step back by one stage as PSG get past us 3-0. Now, in the round of 16, we did go on to play Real Sociedad, so it wasn't the toughest challenge, being honest with you. We do also go on to win the Portuguese League Cup 5-1 over BVT, but the Portuguese Cup we do lose on penalties over Porto. So it is going to be just a treble-winning season, still a lot of trophies to add to the club. Have we affected the reputation? We have by half a star, so we definitely are working in the right direction, and 3 trophies is 3 trophies at the end of the day. Money wise, let's look at the debts and loans. There is a bit going in. We did have a bit of a window last window, so we are going to keep an eye on that. But I mean, as long as we don't bankrupt the club, we're on the right lines. I mean, the balance is in the white. You know, we're not in the red. We're not too out of the sort of rams of where we should be, and we are winning trophies at the same time. And we also are using, you know, some younger players mixed now with some of our own additions. Now, these players I locked in didn't just do well, they cooked. I mean, Fernandez, 20 and 18. Karastas, 33 and 20. Schlaudrup, 30 and 34. Barcola, 55 and 8. I mean, I will say the league is now a bit of a walk in the park for us. Potentially these players can stat pad, but I mean, still, they are great stats. Now, it's not just the league, that is. That's over all the competitions. So, yeah, potentially we can stat pad, but still doing a great job. This man here has been very consistent. Thiago, now, he's 27, but to be fair to him, he's always chipped in and done his fair bit, so I thought I'd just pay a bit of attention to him. Pavlidis still returns 13 goals. Barrio 3 and 22 is remarkable. The wing-backs still chipping in with the assists, 11 and 13. Really, really strong. I mean, the team is doing their thing. There are weaknesses in the team. You know, I think, for example, we still need to sign, you know, down the line, maybe a super young striker, and Barcola can become this sort of versatile striker and winger, not rotation, but just option. Same with Schlaudrup as well. I feel like Luis in midfield, there is room potentially for an upgrade as he is getting older and he is now wanted by Napoli. So there is definitely room to improve the team, and I'm not going to sit here and say we've got a team that can win the Champions League, because I do think we are a little bit off that in terms of just the overall quality of the club. But we're going in the right direction. We're winning trophies in the right direction. We're not bankrupting the club, and we are literally improving the club's reputation. So far, as we approach the 5th season, I think we're doing quite a good job. And if you are enjoying, please do consider leaving a like while you're there. What I have just noticed as I was about to go into the next season is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our first team. But, I mean, Barrio isn't, to be fair. 6, 7, 8... 8 players out of our squad are wanted by clubs. Are we going to keep any of them? I sure hope so. Well, we are just going to sign one player in Chadi Riyad. Now, we did actually keep all of those players that I wanted to just keep, which is very, very impressive, and a lot of money did go on to keep them there. Now, Riyad, as a little heads up, is worth 160 million. We paid 73 million. He had a pretty decent first season. Nothing incredible, but a very, very good leading Premier League player, an elite centre-back who was just developed really well at Crystal Palace, to be honest. Now, he has come in as a bit more of a veteran head, and it does mean that in the future we are going to have to definitely consider signing some younger players, especially in that role, because we now have a couple of older players at centre-back, which is my aim and reasoning is behind, I want to try and win the Champions League, and I want sort of pre-made centre-backs, because centre-back is obviously such an important position, and I hope that someone like this is going to help my cause, so that is the thinking behind it. Well, I mean, the league, you can probably expect it. We are going to win it again and go invincible. That is now 4 seasons invincible, if I'm not mistaken. That is 4 seasons with not losing a single game in the league, which is absolutely bonkers. Now, I will say, it's to be expected when you've got 4 players in the assists, 3 players in the goal scoring ranks, your goalkeeper's got the joint first most amount of clean sheets, you've got 4 players in the average rating, you're not losing a game, and we have now got not a 5, not a 10, not a 15, but a 20-point advantage over Porto. Crazy. Champions League, my plan clearly didn't work, because we are going to get knocked out in the round of 16. Now, the question is, did we even get out of the league phase? We don't. We finish in 14th. So the only team we beat, funny enough, is a Portuguese team, is going to be Sporting. So the Champions League, really not good enough. And an incredible, not in a good way, an incredibly bad exit in the Portuguese Cup in the 5th round over FC Porto. Portuguese League Cup, we are going to win 2-0. So, I mean, that's good to at least win that on top of the league as well. And we go on to win the Portuguese Super Cup 2-0. So it is going to be another Portuguese treble, and as impressive as winning any treble is, I can't lie, I would like to try and link up, you know, a Champions League win in there. By the point we get to season 8 or 9, say we haven't won the Champions League, I would happily sacrifice losing every other trophy in this season and just go for that, which I might even consider doing by locking in players just for the Champions League. But for now, we're going to keep a level head because we're only halfway through. We've still got 5 whole years to try and win the Champions League and link together a nice perfect season. And we are going to have money to do it. Oh, maybe we're not. We're going to have 28 million and we're on the verge of potentially breaking financial fair play in the Champions League. So you could be about to see a very quiet transfer window unless something big happens. So, yeah, you're probably going to see a quiet transfer window. We're going to be quite cautious and careful. And we are just going to admire the players that we have got, because we're probably going to see the same batch next season. Now, Andre Straudra, let me just put him here so you can see him. 32 and 32. Let me know what you think of this guy in real life, boys. Is he as good as what people say? Is he actually a generational talent? Is he not? Was he just looking really good at some of the smaller teams he was at? I want to know what you think, because he is one of my favourite players in this game. He was last year as well. And he is developing really, really well. But that is because I've locked him into every single game. The likes of Barcola's just come in and done his thing. I mean, 52 and 9. This man, again, 21 and 15 from Thiago. 6 and 10 coming in for Kareem. 13 and 5 for Karastas as well. Wang, when he's not locked in, doesn't really get too much game time. As you can see, he can't be locked in forever. The Dev Centre, I might consider promoting some of these players. We've got a lot of potential. Josh Doyle is a player that I am keeping an eye on. His weakness is really the finishing. Other than that, he looks really, really strong on the right-hand side. But I've got a feeling there's going to be another Wang situation. So we're going to go into the next transfer window, but please don't expect much with 28 million. I don't think we're going to sign too many people. But yeah, there is going to be no signings and also no outgoings. And for the first time, we're not going to go invincible. We do win the league once again, and it's still by a ton of points. I mean, we're not even close. When Porto aren't close to us. Sporting dropped to 4th place. I mean, it's still a great season, and we've not spent a single penny. Restes is going to pick up the most clean sheets. Schlaudra, Barrio, Arta, and also Thiago are going to be in the top assists. Barcola, Schlaudra are going to be just behind Dovbyk. Well, Barcola's actually tied with him. Very interesting signing for Sporting, picking up Enzo, a very, very good player indeed. But this competition, I mean, we've now won it. I mean, so many times back to back, and I don't feel bad for them, but Porto have been runners-up every single time. There is literally 2 teams that could win this, and the second team that could fight for it are so far behind. I'm going to lift the Portuguese Super Cup 2-0 over Porto. That is now going to be just to 5 times back-to-back. Portuguese League Cup, we are going to win 3-1 over Porto. That is now going to be just to 5 times back-to-back. And the Portuguese Cup, we are going to reclaim 5-1. As you can see, it's been a few years without it now, a couple of years anyway, so it is really nice to recover and claim that trophy. So it is going to be a Portuguese quadruple. The Champions League, though, we're really not making much progression, and when it comes to the, okay, we would have got through the league phase and we actually go invincible. So that is ridiculous. That is invincible in the league phase. We're beating teams like Bayern, Juve, Chelsea, Ajax. When it comes to the actual nitty gritty, the knockouts, we do get a tough first game. But yeah, we need to start showing a bit of improvement. We were getting to semis, you know, we were getting to quarters at least. Now you're getting knocked out in the first real competitive stage. It's not good enough. It really isn't. Now, money-wise, bigger budgets, more opportunities. 72 million pounds. Transfer debt's now at 0, net debt 160. So still chiseling away at that debt to try and get it 0-0. And I do think, sadly, with that in mind, we are gonna. The thing is, we can't really afford to keep having quiet windows, because I want to try and almost not fast track this team, but start to build up a real competitive Champions League team. This guy, though, is an addition to the team, and as you can see, we didn't spend a penny on him. He's one of our own. Drops to 7.26. Mamadou Touré. He's ridiculous. A very good player. Great mentally, great technically, great passing range, holds a very good value. So we actually sort of, it feels like we did get a signing, even though we didn't spend any money. And when we filter by the best 11, he still doesn't get into the team. What is quite interesting is when we look at this team, by the way, I will show you now, this is the B team. Don't worry, we've not had any sort of meltdown. There are a few players that are definitely worth keeping an eye out for. But the senior team is going to look like this now. So if you look at it, he doesn't get into the team. You've got Fernandez, Barrio, Luis in there, and Barcola gets in there. Schlaudrup still doesn't. The back line looks really, really strong. But again, Jurasek is doing well, but I do think there is options for a better left back. And also with Arthur, I think he's a good option. He's 28. Maybe we can get a good young one. There are so many different options we can do. And I think we've just got to go in, see what we can do. Schlaudrup, we're building the entire team around. We know how good that guy is. But even him, he is getting older. There's got to be some decent players come through. We look at the ages of the team now. 30 and above, that gap's increasing. More players, you know. David, Casper, Ladrano, Barrio, Florentino, Pavlidis, Kareem, Alexander. You know, and then you got a lot of players that are 29 as well. The team is aging now. We're now going through the transition. Right then, £49 million. We are going to welcome in Diego, coming in from Real Madrid. He wasn't getting any game time, so I popped his release clause, got him into the team, because I know this guy's going to be a good option. He's incredibly expensive, but look at what you get. You get a fantastic left back, tons of acceleration, tons of pace, great mentally, great when it comes to the tackling. He can also put a ball in. The guy scored 9 goals as well in his first season. A modern professional, 23 years of age, quite low demands when it comes to the money per week. So you pay up front quite a fair bit. You got a wing back for a decade. 0.6 million, incredibly cheap, and a player that was brought in for backup is going to be Jovan, but he actually comes in and scores 30 goals and picks up 9 assists. So he does way more than what a backup would ever do, and a lot higher than my expectations for him. A really, really standout performance. So nothing but complete credit to this guy, because he's got the Wonder Kid status, but I know what strikers I've got. He wasn't locked in, and he's delivered. And we've also strengthened right back by bringing in Hector Fort, a very reliable option, £45 million, 11 goal contributions, above a 7.5 average rating. This is a bit of a banker. I've signed him in several rebuilds. You know what you're going to get. He's never stepped foot in Portugal before in terms of football, but for us, he's stepped in and done quite well. So that is a really strong window. We are sadly going to lose 4 pretty, you know, well-known players on the free that you simply didn't want contracts, and no clubs wanted them. And that does include Pavlidis, who has been a bagsman for us. He really, really has, but he wants to leave on the free. He's done his job for us at bare minimum, and now it's time for, I guess that is probably why, the man from Partizan got a good chance to shine. And the league, we nearly reclaimed the Invincible title. We do still win the title. I mean, that is becoming very, very repetitive. We love to be seeing that. And it is going to be Jovan. This man, as I said, the top goal scorer, incredible. Barcola, the 4th top. Restes, the most clean sheets. Fernandez the most assists. This guy's been so consistent for that price tag. And apart from this, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, it weren't the best season. The Portuguese Super Cup is going to be the only other trophy we win. The only other trophy. Now, we're keeping up the hot record, but that's all we can do. I mean, semi-final exit in the Portuguese League Cup, 1-0 against a team that are so beatable. I mean, where did they finish third, to be fair? A fourth round exit against Liera. I mean, are they even... They're 12th in the Portuguese league. I mean, it is really not good enough. In the Champions League, yeah, we make it one step further, but the league phase, we go invincible again, but we just can't handle the knockout football. So it's a really bad season in my eyes anyway. A season where I was excited because we've got these exciting players coming in. We've got 3 serious talents, but we just didn't get the job done. Going into the next window, we have got, again, a very generous budget of £70 million. And quite clearly, we need to invest it. The thing is, in the league, we are the best team by quite a clear distance. So the Cups, I'm going to put down to just a bad miracle season, just not going our way. The Champions League, we clearly have not got the squad to do it. So we are going to look at the team overall now, as Toure has a fantastic second locked-in season. And we're going to see where we need to improve, because goalkeeper, I think, is fine. Right back and left back, I think, is fine. Centre back, I think, is fine. Midfield, maybe Karastas needs to be replaced with somebody better. However, he is still a great player. On the right-hand side, maybe a new-gen winger coming in. I mean, we have got a very lack of good backup wingers, so maybe a new right wing could come in. Striker, we might need someone to go alongside of this man up front. There is still a lot of work to do, which is why I always say with these rebuilds, just because they're big names like Benfica, they offer their own set of challenges, and the set of challenge we've got now is that the players that were once everything have now left. Even DLP, maybe, I mean, if we're not going to play Toure there, who I think we should, maybe even play him as like a... He can actually play DLP quite well, so I'd probably keep him. This is going to be a great signing. We are going to pick up Emmanuel Omega. Now, he is 30. Don't worry, I've not gone and spent loads of money. He's a free signing. Now, he only scored 1 goal. He was registered. He played 13 games. But I didn't want to spend all my money on a backup striker because it just wasn't really sensible. So I looked at this guy. If you've never used him, by the way, please go give him a go because he's absolutely nuts. So this guy can do the backup job quite well until we can afford a good new gen striker. On the free as well, we are going to pick up a star midfield player in Gabriel. I'm gonna butcher his name. Mihoy, I think that's how you say that. I'm going to call him Gabriel. He's going to come in from Girona on the free. I mean, 29 goal contributions, approaching an 8 average rating. I mean, the guy absolutely cooked, and this is not a signing as backup, and it's probably a player I would have spent money on. So the fact he's free, that's just a cherry on top. 12.5 million, we are going to take a big punt on a Brazilian new gen. Now, it's not a ridiculous amount, 12.5 million for that return. It's a very good amount, to be honest. He looks really well-rounded, great physically, great mentally, and years in the tank. He does prefer to play in the ball-winning midfielder role, so we might change the tactic to suit him. 18 million, we pick up a young centre-back who plays 1 game. He's not ready for first team yet, but when is that amount of money? I mean, 18 million for that sort of potential? Come on, you got to get him. 22 million, this guy played a lot more games. We pick up a very handy player. He can play right back, centre back, left back, DM. He cost me 22 million. He's bound to get game time purely because of how many positions he can play. And at the end of the day, I think that completes a fantastic window. Genuinely, 5 new faces, losing a couple of very unimportant faces. This is going to be, hopefully, a recovery season. Portuguese Cup final, and to showcase you that free kick is why I wanted to show you this. What a free kick from Barrio, and we are going to go in with the new man in midfield, through to Barrio again, who has taken to this team so well, through into the new man up front, and that is going to be a 2-0 easy win. We also blitzed the Portuguese League Cup in 5-1 fashion, and the Super Cup 4-0 over FC Porto. The Portuguese Cups demolished. Champions League is so frustrating. Another quarter-final exit, and the second time in this video we lose on penalties. We're now in the panic stage for this one. For the league, we are going to win it again, and to be honest, we're getting pretty, used to saying that, aren't we? Our players are just too good in this competition. We've won the Portuguese quadruple once again. I mean, this team are now clearly the best team in Portugal, and I mean, that's not even a question. But the Champions League, you have to win that to be considered one of the greats. And we are now getting to a point where we're almost a bit panicky of if it's even possible, because I'm bringing in players, guys, that I think are going to get the job done. And they are really good players, but we're not even anywhere near. So we're going to have to really hope for either a big window or some luck or something like that. Because sometimes you need that little bit of luck. I mean, you need it sometimes, and we desperately need it in this rebuild. Now, money-wise, we are going to be backed heavily with 77 million. The debts and loans are still there. The transfer debt is gone. I don't even think we've been spending recklessly, to be honest, but we just can't chisel away fully at that net debt. And we now are at a point where we do need to go and spend some money to actually try and secure a Champions League, which is no easy task. So let's just get into the next window, not waste any more time. We know who we've got, we know who's playing well, we know who we need to replace. Let's go and get locked in, because this is now getting iffy. £14 million, we are going to pick up Wygor. Now, this guy, I will say, was brought in mainly because of his price tag. He is incredibly cheap, and also he proved me wrong. 30 goal contributions. I was not expecting it, and I don't really know why, because he looks really, really good, but I brought him in because I know that I could at least turn a profit on him. I'm not even going to sell him. His only weakness really is that injury-prone status. Other than that, the guy's absolutely incredible. 37 million, we are going to welcome in Gary Gisling. I don't know how you say that, but he is going to come in. A Dutch midfield player, model citizen from Man City. A fair bit of money, don't get me wrong, but to be fair, I mean, Man City paid roughly the same. 20 goal contributions, and a midfield player was needed, as we are going to wave goodbye to Barrio. And you might be saying, Josh, why? He's 34. That shows how quickly time goes by. This guy still, he obviously looks young because of his picture, but he's 34, so I let him go on the free. Jurasek is also going to be going on the free. He is 33 years of age. This man is going to be leaving. I don't really know too much about him. And also Samuel is going to leave on the free, who is 31. So we are now going again for another clear-out phase of older players, but we have somewhat replaced them quite well. So fingers crossed, improvements in the Champions League. And what a moment for Jovan up front. This is the second leg of the Champions League semi-final, tied up 0-0, and the last kick of the game, we get through to the final because of him. That is right, we are going through to the Champions League final for the first time in 9 years. We are playing PSG. Now, we have got past, obviously, Barcelona. We have got past Manchester United. We have got past Arsenal. Can we take it to Paris Saint-Germain? This might be our only chance. Off to the Champions League final, and it is a big occasion, and big occasions, they call for big names, and this guy is becoming one. Jovan is going to strike. The man who got us here, he's been such a good signing for 4.6 million, is going to make it 1-0, and thanks to a great second goal from you guess who coming in any second, we are going to be Champions League winners. And it's him again. We have got to give this guy credit. He come in as a backup striker, got the first team position, 4.6 million, and we have won the Champions League, and he played a big part of it. We also are going to go on to win the league, the Portuguese Cup 2-1 over Braga. We also win the Portuguese Super Cup, to be fair, 6-4 over Sporting. Finalists in the League Cup, where we do lose to Porto, but we of course are going to go and win the league again, sadly not in invincible fashion, where he again is going to be the top goal scorer. So the Champions League has been won in season 9 alongside of the league, alongside of the Super Cup and the Portuguese Cup. So it is going to be 4 trophies in one season, and we have now got season 10 to try and win all 5 trophies. So we've got a nice shot at doing that as well. It's still a big challenge, but I'm glad we've got a chance to do it. Now, that player up front, I can't get over. 4.6 million is a steal for him. How much is he actually valued at right now? 21 million. Mate, talk to me. Do you know what? I'm not even going to question what you want. Take it. I don't care. Take it. Stay at the club. I do not want to lose him. Have what money you want. I didn't even look. This guy needs to stay at the club because he is pretty much everything. Now, going into the last season, there's a lot of pressure to try and get this, perfect season under our belts. Of course, if I don't do it, you can always try on the Patreon. I'll put up a gift card as a prize or something. I'll talk about that later on in the video. but we are going to have a pretty fair budget of 98 million. Now, the net debt has come down a little bit, and I always like to take care of you guys by signing any good new gens that are on the market, and that's what I'm going to do. So you probably aren't going to see any more, if you want to use the words, real footballers, but you might see some good new gens coming up any second now. Signing one is going to be another striker option. Purely he was brought in to be a competitor with Jovan. Now, it might seem harsh what I've done here because of the importance of Jovan, but I did say I need someone to go alongside of him, and when the right man comes around, I will sign him. And that is going to be Kareem Tao. Now, this guy looks remarkable, okay? He comes in from Manchester United, 26 and 12. The guy absolutely cooked. Now, this is where you come in, because you can play these save files, you can have your input. If you want to stick with Jovan, you can lock him in. For me, at this stage of the rebuild, I want 2 good players for every position, and that's why I was willing to spend what I spent on this man in 32 million, because we've now got 2 world-class strikers for 36 million combined. 1.9 million, and again, he was brought because of the price tag. He lacks a lot, you know, in terms of finishing, corners, bravery, long shots. Everything else is actually quite good in, but for the price tag of 1.3 million, 18 goal contributions, I'm finding some bargains. And for £39 million, we have picked up probably one of our better centre-backs. I mean, the guy looks nuts. A great first season. Not that much, to be honest, when you look at the player you get. 17 tackling, 17 heading. All of his attributes, apart from 2, are yellow in the physical. Mentally incredible as well. And that is going to be our last signing in the year of 2033. Can we do the perfect season? Which, by the way, is every single trophy we play in, we win. So, off to another Champions League final, and another Champions League final against PSG, and another big statement from a young striker. Tao is going to go through back-to-back Champions League winners. That is right, 2 times playing PSG, 2 times we have won the Champions League. Thank you very much. There was ever going to be a competition that I know would not fail us in this sort of perfect season, it would have been the league, and it still is. I mean, a ton of points over second place. Tao is going to be your top goal scorer. Gabriel is going to be your most assists, which is remarkable. Considering he was on the free, by the way, what a signing he is. And that is now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not got the tactic? You might want to go and get it. I mean, that is remarkable. League Cup, we are going to win 1-0 over Sporting, so we are still alive for this perfect dream. We have now won that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times inside of 10 years. Simply lovely. So I'm going to go on to win the Portuguese Super Cup on penalty. So when you're talking about trying to complete this perfect challenge, this is as close as I'll ever want to see a final, because this is very close. We have now won that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Incredible. And we are going to go on to win, as you can see, the Portuguese Cup. The past winners looked a bit of a bugbear, but we are going to win it 3, 4, 5 times, which is still very, very good. And that is going to be the perfect season. 1 trophy, 2 trophy, 3 trophy, 4 trophy, 5 trophy. Now, you're still going to have a challenge set for you, because obviously I've never played in a Super Cup. So we are going to go and see. Actually, did we play in the Super Cup? Oh, we won it. We won it. Or was that last year? No, it is this year. I think it's this year. Let me look on the schedule. By the way, look at this for a bit of dominance. That's the team we built up. Super Cup, we did win it. So we have won everything. We have won everything apart from the Club World Cup. So your challenge now, I'm not sure what I can set you. I like to give a challenge because people get really competitive. What can I set you as a challenge? Let me think on the spot. Pressure situation. Your challenge is to replicate this season, but go invincible in the league. And if you do that, send me a screenshot, because there's a lot of people getting involved in this now. I essentially give away gift cards. This video, because that is a pretty much impossible challenge, it'll be £30 Amazon. So if you are interested, send me screenshots of you completing it over on the Patreon. Yes, it is a Patreon giveaway, so make sure you send them as Imager links or whatever you can do, because that is the way you can win. The first winner, the first person to send it, is going to be the prize winner. But what a rebuild that is, and what a team I have left you here with. What a tactic. I mean, the players are absolutely cooking. They really are. You've got the perfect mixture of experience and young players. So many good young players. The value of some of these players is absolutely incredible. Money-wise, you're going to have 130 million to go and spend, and the debt has been at the lowest you will ever see it. You could easily go into the next season signing nobody, or even spending just 60 million, and you can clear that debt just like that. The club has been turned into a perfect 5-star reputation side. The trophy cabinet is now, there's too many trophies for the cabinet, and that is going to be Benfica rebuilt over 10 years. What a journey. Let me know if you want to see this with Sporting, or maybe with Porto, or maybe with any other Portuguese team. We of course did do a Portuguese team very recently, and a lot of people like that. So if there's any other Portuguese team you want to see have a decade of this treatment, let me know. And as a little reminder, these aren't all based off realism. I get that, which is why whenever you see a video titled Realism Rebuild, that is purely using realistic signings. The game's been out 19 months, 18 months. Have some fun with it, you know what I mean? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.